Hi everyone! In today's video I will be starting my series of planting seeds in January. So this will be the first video of the series, and I will take you along in future videos as I plant out my seedlings for January, February, into the spring. So today I will be talking about planting out my pansies and give you just a little bit of insight in terms of how I've grown them in the past, how I plan to grow them this year, and hope that you enjoy this video and that you will enjoy following along on my journey of planting seeds for cut flowers. If you are new to the channel, my name is Anne at Martin House Flowers, and I garden in Northern Illinois in Zone 5B. I am on a suburban 1/3 acre lot. I have this beautiful greenhouse that I'm in that is only a few months old. We finalized the build of this greenhouse in late July last year, and I'm looking forward to doing some seed starting in here, cool flower seed starting. And I imagine that by summer it's going to be pretty empty in here because it gets pretty hot. In fact, today I look up at the heater and it says that it's 87 degrees. It might be in this hot sun. So that's why I had to wear my transitional glasses so that I'm not squinting. So thanks for joining me, and I hope that you will like, share, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. So in terms of keeping track of my seeds, because there are quite a few seeds that I have already collected, and last year I used this garden planner logbook, and what I liked about it is that I listed all of my seeds that I started in 2024, how many packs of seeds or how many seeds, who the source was, whether it was Baker Creek or Johnny's or M.I. Gardner, and the year. And then there's a little column here to say, would I buy more of these, yes or no? So I'm going to continue to use this book. I started filling it out already for 2025, and I listed in order the first seeds that I plan to sow. And yarrow, sweet peas, and violas and pansies are in there. But for the sake of this series, I think that it's best if I cover 2 to 3 seeds along the way for each video, and then it's easier to digest. I've looked at a lot of other videos. I've done a lot of research, and I find that sometimes when videos talk about an entire seed haul, unless I'm sitting there taking notes or I'm taking screenshots, I find that it's a lot to process. So I think for me personally, I think it's more digestible, if you will, to just cover 2 or 3 types of flowers or seeds at a time, and then we can learn together. The first seeds that I'm going to sow today and talk about are pansies and violas. So last year, it was my first year growing pansies from seeds. Of course, I've grown many pansies, like I'm sure most of you have, where you buy them from local garden centers and put them in containers. But I've always loved pansies. It's very much a nostalgic flower for me. It reminds me of my aunt Sheila, who lived in Chicago for many, many years, and she was like a sister to me because our age difference wasn't that great. And she's no longer with us, so whenever I plant pansies, I always think of her. And to me, pansies represent the early spring, and it's just something so wonderful when you might still have cold days and you see the colorful pansies sprouting out of your containers. Last year I did pansies in my front porch. I did an Easter container, and that was one of my first successful videos last March. So I'm hoping to get a head start on them this year because I do have the greenhouse and they are a cool flower. So I plan to sow them instead of under grow lights. I think I'm going to experiment and have them growing here in the greenhouse on one of my shelves. So pansies do like to be, they need darkness to germinate. So they take 60 to 85 days, and they look stunning planted in mass or in borders and beds. But they also make a stunning potted flower, which is what I'm planning to do. Plants are cold loving and will tolerate shade. The edible flowers add a touch of regal elegance to baked goods and other culinary creations. I think I mentioned that in my last video about January seed starting. One of my good friends in Schaumburg, Ontario, she owned a tea house, Sheena's Kitchen, and I used to always order lemon chiffon cakes from her on special occasions, and she always decorated them with pansies or violas, and it just always made it so cheerful. So these were last year's pansies: Celestial Blue, Lake of Thune, which is a purple, and Coronation Gold. I do have a few of these left in here, so I think what I'm going to do is, because these are last year's, they do say they were packed for 2024, sell by 12/31. I think what I'm going to do is save these for my winter sowing, and I will be doing winter sowing in my next video. So stay tuned for that. But in terms of growing indoors, I'm going to be planting out these new ones, which are Berna Velvet Blue Pansy, Viola Wine Leta Viola, and these also say they take 85 days. And this is Antique Leta Viola. And the last one is Viola Arkwright Ruby Viola, my mom's name. It just so happens. So this regal variety dates from before the 1940s. That's what I loved about this. It's just so nostalgic. Both pansies and sweet peas to me are very nostalgic and romantic flowers. So they're a little bit dark, on the darker side, and versus last year I did like the blue, purple, and yellow, which is more traditional, because I think I had planned to grow these for the fall and just never got around to it. So we're going to plant these up today in my 24 cell trays. What I'm going to do is fill up the trays. These need to be surface sowed, and they say 6 inches apart. They sprout in 5 to 8 days, and yes, they are frost hardy, and they need a minimum of 6 to 12 hours of full sun. So all I'm going to do is sprinkle them, surface sow them, and then cover them in vermiculite, but then I will cover them with a tray just to simulate darkness. And within 4 to 7 days, I should get sprouting. After they've sprouted, then I will take the lid off and then just put them on my shelves here, somewhere along here, and we'll let them winter sow based on the greenhouse temperatures. So I do want to say that it has been a huge learning being in this greenhouse over the winter. We've struggled, quite honestly, with the heat. I've had to bring in a few of my indoor plants that just were struggling. Also, I had a bunch of indoor plants that didn't survive. They just literally got frost damage just within 24 hours of even filming my last video in here. So it's been really tough. We've had to have both a electric heater that's up above there, and it is our third one. The first two were just not powerful enough, but even with that, we also had to have an additional second heater, which is a gas heater that we turn on whenever the temperatures go below freezing and when the electric heater isn't able to keep up. So having said that, the one silver lining is that my Meyer lemon tree so far is doing well. It has struggled a little bit. Some of the leaves that were near the glass or touching the glass got frosty. Because it is cool in here, I think that pansies and sweet peas and even yarrow, which is cold tolerant. Yarrow, as I mentioned, can be a perennial. Some people treat it as an annual, but I believe that they will do quite well here in the greenhouse, sheltered from the actual snow elements, but will benefit from the cool temperatures and also get some sunlight. Obviously, if you've got a beautiful sunny day today, and I won't be putting those under grow lights for now. So I'm also doing them a little bit earlier. Last year, I looked back in my book and I had started my pansies. I look back. I had sowed them on February 3rd, and sweet peas, I sowed them February 24th. So this year, it's the end of January. Monday will be the 26th. So what I did was I counted back from my last frost date. So although I'm in Illinois, Northern Illinois, Zone 5B, and as you know, if you know the USDA zones, you can be a Zone 5 on the other side of the country, whether it's on the East Coast. Some areas of New York are in that zone, but it's really more about your last frost date. So if you want to know your last frost date, what I would suggest is to go to Google and put in your zip code and put that zip code in, or your city and state, and that will give you your last frost date. Now, I did look it up last year, and I can verify that it was pretty accurate with me. I'm going to put my glasses back on because I can tell I'm squinting. It was pretty accurate that Google said April 20th to the 30th, and it was a really warm spring for us in 2024, so it was very accurate. And what I've done is I've counted back 12 weeks from April 20th. If you're a little bit uneasy, I would, go towards the end of that recommended or that suggested last frost date. A lot of people wait till May. For me, because I've got a lot of these cool flowers, I found that planting things out in May was a little late. So stalks, for example, that are cool flowers, they didn't benefit from the early warm temperatures in May. It just basically killed them off really quickly. Sweet peas, they were pretty much done for me by the end of June in containers. So I'm trying to get them in the ground or in containers much earlier this year, and I can also keep an eye on that by hardening them off in the greenhouse. And on that note, it's actually going to be a little better, healthier for your plants if you actually do replicate those cool temperatures. And by that, I mean not putting them under having a heat mat underneath, or having them grow in warm temperatures, because they are cool flowers. So we're going to test together the effectiveness of actually growing these cool flower seedlings in the greenhouse, where the temperatures will range anywhere from the 40s. So on average, my temperatures in the greenhouse are going to be probably in the 50s or 60s. So I'm going to test these pansies out, these sweet peas, and even yarrow in the greenhouse, and I'll see how it goes. So I do want to say that last year I did grow my sweet peas and my pansies under grow lights. And my sweet peas in particular did grow fairly tall quickly, and it wasn't ideal. And I think that's because it was in undergrow lights. I did not use a heat mat, but what happens is that the sweet pea seedling wants to seek the light, and they just got really tall and leggy quickly. And I even had to stake them with little skewers just to keep them upright, from keep them from falling. And I was really hesitant to plant them out too early, so I didn't even plant them out till May. And now, having researched everything and watched a number of videos about sweet peas, I've decided that it's definitely safe for me to go from my seedlings containers and into my containers that are sitting here in the greenhouse, because that's where they'll actually end up. I have 3 pots that I'll show you. that had mandavillas in them and didn't make it because it wasn't warm enough in here, and they had sweet peas in them last spring. So I will start those off in the greenhouse, and as soon as the seedlings are, probably 4 inches tall, I'm going to go ahead and plant them out in my containers here, and then definitely by the end of April, I'll be carrying them out onto the patio where they will sit for the rest of the summer. But I think by putting them into the containers here in the greenhouse, that will maintain that cool factor. So I did put my sweet peas in little Tupperwares, and they're soaking right now. I just did that this morning, so it'll have to be in the second part of the video where they have soaked for 24 hours, and then we will plant those out. And I do have one container that's the deep-rooted container that I got from Gardener's Supply, and I'm also going to just put them in some other containers because I do have 150 seeds of my sweet peas, 3 different varieties from Johnny's that I'll share with you when we go to do that. But for the sake of right now, I think because I don't have my sweet peas fully soaked yet, I'm going to start with the violas, and I guess all 3 of these are violas, and then I have the Burna Velvet Blue pansy. So let's get that started and take you along. I'm one of those people that does use a seed starting mix. I know that a lot of people talk about just using a nice soft potting mix, and you can certainly do that. The only thing about potting mix is depending on what you use, sometimes you have to filter out all of the little pieces of branches or twigs or whatever you might have. So I'm going to go ahead and dump this entire bag in here. This is an 8-quart bag that I picked up on Amazon. It's Miracle Grow Seed Starting Mix, and it's enriched with plant food. I've used a number of different seed starting mixes. Sometimes in the deep of winter, I can only find something at Walmart, like the Jiffy brand, and that's worked okay for me too. I've used Garden Supplies brand when I bought these 24 cell trays. So, use whatever you can get your hands on, whatever you've tested. I am going to start to use, I'm going to pick up later on some Pro Mix that YouTuber from Crowley House Farm, she talked about Pro Mix. You can get them in big 2 cubic foot things. So honestly, I believe in getting whatever is a good value, because for the most part, they're all pretty good, I think. So I have these 24 cell trays from Garden Supply. I think I saw these online, and Laura had used them in the past too. There's a mat that goes underneath here that you can you fill this tray up with about a 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch of water, and then it soaks up with the mat, and then it's sort of self-watering, which is kind of nice. So I have those mats inside because I brought these in to rinse out. So for now, I'm just going to do a tray so that you can sort of see the process. So I just brought out one of my pitchers, my summer lemonade pitcher, and I'm just giving the potting mix a good soak. I use almost half the jug there, and I can tell that I can pretty much use the entire jug. I looked up, and sure enough, the sun's gone down, and it's already, the temperature has dropped by over 10 degrees in the greenhouse, so it's gotten cool. So I got nice intense sun in here this morning. We were lucky to have a sunny morning, but it's probably around noon now, well, maybe closer to 1 o'clock, and already it's starting to get gray outside and cool. So you want it to be moldable, that it'll keep its shape, still a little dry. So I'm just going to go ahead and soak up this entire amount, because when you pre-moisten your soil, then you don't really have to go in there and water it right away. And because we're going to do these pansies in darkness, I'm going to put a tray over top. Leave them in the greenhouse because it'll be nice and cool in here. Cooler than in the house anyway. We're going to surface sow these, so it's pretty easy. I've got my 2 trays here. Hopefully we can see well enough. As per the package, they sprout in 5 to 8 days. The ideal temperature is between 62 and 68 Fahrenheit, which is perfect for in here. Surface sow, plant spacing 6 inches apart, frost hardy, yes. Minimum full sun 6 to 12 hours, and that's when they start to bloom. They need 6 to 12 hours. So there's supposed to be 30 seeds violas in here. So I went inside and I grabbed my toothpicks, filled up a jug of water, and I grabbed the mats that I had. So these are a year old. They were used for a couple different seeding sessions last year. You can buy replacements at Garden Supply. I know that some people don't end up using them after the first year. I'm going to give it a shot, see if they still work. I'll show you that method in a minute, but I have a feeling that after this first round of seeds, I'm not going to bother using them, and I'll just water from below and probably not use this platform. The nice thing is, because of the platform that's in this tray, it raises it a little higher, and if you are going to grow under grow lights, it's that much closer to your light source. So I am one of those people that sometimes I've just been very generous and just sprinkle my violas, but because I have 4 packages here, I'm going to try to be careful about putting there's not a lot of seeds in here, so I want to maximize. So I am going to drop at least 2 in here per cell. I'm gonna grab a handful. I have these trays Mr. Penn from Amazon last year, and as I was washing them, I washed them in the summer last year, but then they've been sitting in the greenhouse. I noticed as I rinsed them off again, one of them cracked. So not something I would recommend, but I'm gonna just, they fit over this tray nicely to create some darkness. And I'm gonna take that and just put it on my shelf here. So I'm on my second tray with the wine Lata, and I noticed that this package and the earlier package had only 30 seeds for $4 versus these violas that have 100 seeds, and the pansies have 100 seeds. So I think for now I'm just going to do these two trays for this video. I'll continue with the others. The nice thing is I'll have extra to do my winter sowing, which again is going to be in my next video. I've got most of them in my hand now, looks like. I want to show you how this works. So I'm going to fill this tray just to that first level. Lay it on top, and it folds over, and this side that folds over is what will pick up the moisture and eventually soak up the entire mat from this folded over side, and will soak the bottom. And there you have it. I'm going to take the lid, cover it, and put it on the shelf. So there you have it, the two trays of violas that are on my shelf, my grow light shelf that is not plugged in. So it's going to have enough darkness there, still in cool temperatures. I did put some water underneath for the mat to soak up, and I will check those on a daily basis and keep you posted on the germination. I wanted to quickly show, since I ran out of that one bag, I do have two more of those Miracle Grow bags because I got a 3-pack at Amazon. But in any case, I found a bag, half a bag of Burpee organic seed starting mix, and it has the Burpee plant food, and there's the difference. It seems to have, the difference is that it has, unlike peat moss, they use a renewable, sustainable resource, which is coconut coir. And that's why it has more of a lighter coconut husk color as opposed to the Miracle Grow right there. So I just wanted to show you that. I'm not very selective about what I use. Unfortunately, I just go with what is available and what's affordable. Just wanted to share that with you. So I've just done the 2 trays of pansies, and I took a look at how long the video is already, and I think I'm going to stop this video, part 1 of the sowing my seeds in January. I think I'll stop at the pansies or violas, and in the next video I will have had my sweet peas soaking overnight, and I will continue sowing sweet peas, and we'll talk about the different characteristics of sweet peas and what they need for growing. So thanks again for joining me. I hope you found this helpful, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.